What was consumed was the rebel soul power of Tian Yunzi, but more so, it was Wang Lin's primordial energy. Had it not been for his cultivation strengthening, executing it casually would not have been so effortless. However, the power of the Finger of Heavenly Fortune, when compared to Tian Yunzi performing it personally, was still vastly inferior. After all, their cultivation levels were different, and their methods of execution were not the same. Wang Lin had executed the Finger of Heavenly Fortune with the intention of intimidating. After all, he was still injured, and in order to achieve his goal within the Limitless sect, he had to present an air of profound and unfathomable divine abilities. He would not have easily summoned the mosquito beast unless absolutely necessary. It was his life-saving trump card. The earth continued to shake, the residual waves roaring as the sound seemed to linger in the ears of all present. The bloodthirsty scent carried by the wind reminded the tens of thousands of onlookers of the shocking scene they had just witnessed. In the Limitless sect, the destruction of the branch sect leader's body, the death of the branch sect grand elder, and the annihilation of the branch sect's chief disciple, Luangjia, all of this had occurred in the blink of an eye. Even after the Limitless sect elder Feng Hai attempted to stop it, Wang Lin had coldly spoken, "Anyone who tries to save him shall be guilty of the same crime." There were people capable of doing all of this, but those with the courage to actually carry it out were incredibly rare. Wang Lin's swift and clean actions deeply shocked everyone present, including those from the Limitless sect. Lu Yanfei lowered her head, her expression calm, but warmth enveloped her heart. Mu Bingmei's expression was complex, and for some reason, she felt an overwhelming sorrow. She thought of the Alliance Star Domain, the destruction of Kungsu, and the might of Tua Senator. Her experience bore similarities to Lu Yanfei's. But Lu Yanfei had someone to stand behind her, while Mu Bingmei had only herself to rely on in helplessness, silently enduring in solitude. Li Qianmei's expression was serene as she quietly observed Wang Lin, a smile on her face just like a century ago. Wang Shanshan furrowed her brows, her thoughts drifting back to the Finger of Heavenly Fortune she had just witnessed, pondering deeply. The high-ranking elders of the Limitless sect were all profound cultivators with deep schemes, and at this moment, none of them showed any emotion. However, their gazes towards Wang Lin were cold. Only the white-robed elder, the sect master of the Limitless sect, had observed Wang Lin's cultivation most clearly. He showed no reaction when Wang Lin killed the Celestial Melody sect's people right before him, as though he hadn't seen a thing. Wang Lin turned, his expression calm, but a killing intent slowly spread from him. His gaze fell far upon the location of the Xun'er sect as he walked step by step. Around him, there was an eerie silence. The eyes of nearly 100,000 people fixed upon him, but none of them made him feel the slightest discomfort. His steps were slow, but with each one, all members of the Xun'er sect felt a jolt in their hearts, as though they were facing an ancient beast, its vicious jaws open, ready to devour them all. The sect master of Xun'er sect turned pale. Though he had reached the shattered Nirvana realm, he did not have the courage to face Wang Lin, especially when he recalled that this was the same person who had forced his sect to move continents not long ago. A cold sweat broke out as he could not summon even the slightest thought of resistance. In the 7th rank star domain, Xun'er sect is but a small sect. To fight such a person for a mere elder is truly unwise. His gaze flickered, glancing at the Xun'er sect's grand elder, whose cultivation was at the peak of the mid-shattered Nirvana stage. Even this grand elder, upon realizing that Wang Lin was the terrifying figure who had stormed through the 7th rank star domain, felt his soul nearly shatter. He had witnessed Wang Lin's unparalleled grandeur under the soul subjugation seal, and he knew he was no match for him. When their gazes met, they immediately understood each other's thoughts, though there was a moment's hesitation. Yet, as Wang Lin's footsteps continued to approach, this hesitation collapsed. The horrific scene at the Celestial Melody sect was still fresh in their minds. The sect master of Xun'er gritted his teeth and instinctively moved aside. The grand elder of Xun'er did the same. As the two of them moved aside, the Xun'er sect's cultivators quickly dispersed, and people from other sects also shifted. In a short while, a path cleared through the crowd, and Zhao Long's essence spirit found itself surrounded by empty space. His essence spirit trembled, his gaze locked onto Wang Lin. "You come out," Wang Lin said, stopping his steps and pointing his right index finger at Zhao Long's essence spirit. "I'll fight you to the death." Zhao Long's eyes turned red, his soul trembling. A chilling sensation surrounded him as he felt utterly abandoned by the world, as though he was the only one left in existence. With a roar, Zhao Long charged forward, locking his gaze onto Wang Lin. Instantly, an invisible flame erupted within him, for he had been forced into a desperate corner and chose to burn his essence spirit to exchange for a momentary surge of power. Zhao Long charged forward frantically, an overwhelming sense of farewell sorrow instantly filling the surroundings. As he burned, his cultivation skyrocketed. Breaking through from the peak of the early Shattered Nirvana stage, he reached the mid-Shattered Nirvana stage, unleashing a thunderous roar that shook the heavens and the earth. From a distance, it seemed as though he transformed into a meteoric fireball about several dozen feet in size, hurtling directly towards Wang Lin. As he advanced, the madness within him grew more intense. Eventually, it felt as though the light of heaven and earth dimmed, and only Zhao Long's burning essence spirit, turned into a meteor, remained, shining brightly and drawing the gaze of all the cultivators. You want me dead? Then you must pay the price. Zhao Long's final roar echoed, reverberating through the world, shocking all who heard it, including the surrounding cultivators, whose minds resonated with his words. Even the people from the Wuji sect were moved. In this world, to force a shattered nirvana cultivator to burn their essence spirit to the point of self-destruction was a rare and extreme scene. But at this moment, this very scene was unfolding right before everyone's eyes. The power emitted from the burning essence spirit on the verge of self-destruction was madness incarnate, pure destruction. Even those with higher cultivation would instinctively avoid such a devastating force. Yet Wang Lin did not retreat. His eyes suddenly flashed with a cold glint. Feng Hai's expression darkened. As an elder of the Wuji sect, and the one overseeing this grand competition, he had no choice but to watch as the enemy killed people from the Celestial Melody sect, ignoring his authority. If that were all, it might have been bearable. But now, the person Zhao Long was targeting was from the 7th rank star domain. A 7th rank star domain sect member was incredibly valuable to the Wuji sect. More importantly, others could ignore whether Zhao Long from the Xun'er sect lived or died, and whether their reputation would plummet. But Feng Hai could not stand by. After all, he had once left the Xun'er sect and later became an elder of the Wuji sect. If Li Qianmei had been the one to kill, it would have been understandable, as Li Qianmei had the backing of the Skybreaker sect, and Feng Hai couldn't say a word. But the situation now is different. Friend Liu, I ask you to show some mercy and not interfere with the Xun'er sect's matters. Feng Hai's voice was cold, laced with an unmistakable chill, as he shot forward directly toward Wang Lin. In that instant, as Zhao Long's burning essence spirit, now transformed into a 10-foot meteor, barreled toward Wang Lin, a surge of monstrous killing intent erupted from within Wang Lin's body. The strength of this killing intent was so overwhelming that it instantly disturbed the heavens and the earth. The sky darkened, and it felt as though countless vengeful souls manifested in the world, their wailing voices shaking the very foundation of the universe, their coldness enveloping everything. The eruption of this killing intent was so sudden, so explosive, that Feng Hai's expression changed drastically. His body faltered, as if a deep sense of danger flooded his being. He instinctively sensed that if he took one more step forward, he would enter Wang Lin's divine range and face a merciless death. In that moment, Wang Lin moved. Facing the burning essence spirit meteor, Wang Lin took a step forward, his body like the wind, twisting in midair. His right foot slammed forward, meeting the incoming meteor in an instant. With his white hair flying and his white robes billowing, there was no divine ability, no evasion, no flourishes, only the most direct, the most memorable, the most unforgettable strike, as if it would be etched into the memories of all who witnessed it. A deafening explosion echoed, reverberating throughout the world. Wang Lin's right foot did not pause for a second as it struck Zhao Long's burning essence spirit. The impact reverberated in an earth-shattering series of bangs. Despite Zhao Long's essence spirit burning, it had no power to resist against this absolute force. Even burning his essence spirit, death was inevitable. The meteor shattered instantly, dispersing into countless shards of crystal light. Wang Lin withdrew his leg and remained remarkably calm. His cold gaze swept over the surrounding cultivators, finally landing on Feng Hai. Friend, your words came too late. Feng Hai's face darkened, his eyes fixed on Wang Lin. After a long pause, he turned without speaking and walked back toward the Wuji sect's viewing platform. The surrounding area fell into a deathly silence, but after a brief moment, the silence erupted into an uproar. From Wang Lin's sudden appearance, to the slaughter of Celestial Melody sect members, to the death of Zhao Long from the Xun'er sect, everything happened so quickly, but the shock it caused only intensified. Incredible divine abilities, and an even more astonishing physical body. The elder in the white robe from the Wuji sect, the sect master, revealed a gleam of light in his eyes. A mere celestial melody sect, a mere Xun'er sect, were nothing compared to the great divine ability cultivator before him. Wang Lin turned and faced the crowd of cultivators. His voice was calm, but his words were clear and loud, reaching every ear. I, Lu, represent the Origin Reunion sect, and I challenge all the branches of the 6th and 7th rank star domains. Who will be the first to step forward? Wang Lin's words cut through the air like a chilling wind, causing the surrounding area to fall silent once more. Lu Yunxiang took a deep breath, suppressing his shock. His gaze turned to Yuan Fei among the cultivators, a faint smile playing on his lips. Yuan Fei's face was pale as he stared at Wang Lin, dressed in white, on the platform. He remained silent for a moment, but did not dare to step forward. A calm voice, as if drifting from the stillness of the world, slowly echoed, I am Yunshan from the 7th rank Qingyun Dao. I wish to spar with Daoist LV. The most skilled cultivators were often selected by the Wuji sect for focused training. The calm voice belonged to a middle-aged man in a Daoist robe. His expression was tranquil, his skin slightly yellow, as if he were suffering from a severe illness. After speaking, he stepped out from the crowd on the west side of the platform, seemingly walking on invisible clouds, gradually approaching the stage. This man, Yunshan, was a figure of great renown within the 7th rank star domain. He usually remained secluded, not interfering with worldly affairs. However, for this grand sect event, he had left his seclusion, his cultivation power formidable, subtly radiating the aura of the late shattered Nirvana stage. It was rumored that he was one of the 3 disciples personally chosen by the Wuji sect for the upcoming 8th rank sect competition, a figure highly valued by the sect over the past several thousand years. He had received countless elixirs, treasures, and divine arts to aid his cultivation, with even one of the 7 grand elders of the Wuji sect personally teaching him for 1,000 years. It could be said that Yunshan was a cultivator of immense divine abilities, raised by the full force of the Wuji sect with the goal of winning the upcoming 8th rank sect competition. As he moved, whispers rose among the crowd. Though Yunshan appeared to be middle-aged, he had cultivated for thousands of years. His expression remained calm as he stopped in front of Wang Lin on the platform, cupped his fists, and said, Daoist LV, please enlighten me. The moment the words left his mouth, his eyes suddenly shone with brilliance. His cultivation at the late shattered Nirvana stage erupted in an instant, unleashing a vortex of wind that swept outwards from his body, distorting the surroundings. The heavens and earth seemed to shift, and from a distance, a massive whirlpool could be seen slowly rotating. 9 phantom red tigers appeared within the vortex, their roars deafening. Tiger Soul 9 turns. Some cultivators, experienced and knowledgeable, immediately recognized the technique and their eyes sharpened. On the Wuji sect spectator platform, Feng Hai's expression darkened as he stared at Wang Lin. He was a man of deep scheming, and would never fight someone without a guaranteed victory. Now, he planned to use this opportunity to assess the true extent of the strength of the man who had killed Zhao Long. The other elders of the Wuji sect also watched Yunshan with expressions of acknowledgement. They knew that if Yunshan weren't one of the 3 disciples chosen for the grand event, he would have long since become an elder of the Wuji sect. The white-robed old sect master of the Wuji sect squinted his eyes and showed a look of admiration. Although he knew that Yunshan was not the strongest among the 3 disciples, his cultivation at the late shattered Nirvana stage was a testament to the power of the Wuji sect. In the previous several 8th rank sect competitions, the Wuji sect had been at the bottom. But this time, the old man believed that even if they could not win and become first, they would never again sink to the bottom. Yunshan's eyes glinted with battle intent. As he formed a hand seal, he suddenly pointed forward. The vortex created by the 9 red tiger souls erupted with a deafening roar. The tigers, now the size of mountains, charged toward Wang Lin from 9 different directions, seeking to devour him. The sky and earth seemed to turn red with the appearance of the 9 tigers. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, his demeanor calm. He had come to the Wuji sect seeking speed, to unleash his power in the shortest time possible and shock everyone. Only by doing so could the Origin Reunion sect gain fame. If he delayed, any wounds he had been suppressing would worsen, and the effort would be wasted. In the instant the 9 tigers roared toward him, Wang Lin stepped forward. As his foot landed, his surroundings suddenly twisted, as if the boundary between truth and illusion had blurred. In that moment, Wang Lin waved his right hand through the air, and a surge of blue flames erupted, enveloping him in a whirlpool of fire. Open! Wang Lin shouted in a low voice. The whirlpool of flames around his body reversed direction, crashing outward with a deafening boom, colliding with the incoming 9 tigers. The sound of the explosions echoed through the air as the heavens and earth rippled. The 9 tigers were immediately engulfed in the blue flames, and 3 of them were instantly destroyed, their roars shaking the world. Within the flames, Wang Lin's figure flashed out, charging toward Yunshan. As he moved forward, he raised his right hand and pointed toward the sky, shouting, "Heaven and earth fire." As soon as the words left his mouth, the nearly 100,000 cultivators surrounding the platform changed expression. Those who had cultivated fire-related divine abilities immediately felt a surge of uncontrollable fire elemental energy within them, as if summoned by the very words Wang Lin had spoken. In an instant, the cultivators sitting in the surrounding stands, who practiced fire-based cultivation, suddenly felt as if their bodies were on fire. Flames surged from within them, rising to the sky and directly rushing toward the right hand of Wang Lin, where they gathered. Among the members of the Limitless sect, an elder with white hair suddenly changed expression. His cultivation was based on fire, and at this moment, he crossed his legs and immediately began to form hand seals. He quickly pressed his hands against his chest, stabilizing the fiery energy within. At that moment, it seemed that Wang Lin had transformed into the first flame that appeared when the world was created, becoming the master of fire. All the flames in the world obeyed his command. Flames flew out from the crowd, converging toward Wang Lin. Everything happened in the blink of an eye, too fast to be believed. As Wang Lin advanced, a massive fireball rapidly formed in his right hand from the flames coming from all directions. As his hand came down, the fireball exploded and merged into his palm. Yunshan's expression changed as well, and he immediately retreated. He raised his right hand and grasped the air, causing a storage crack to appear. He was about to take out a magical treasure to resist. But how could Wang Lin give him a chance to retrieve a treasure? Cultivators at the Shattered Nirvana stage always had several powerful magical treasures, and once taken out, this battle would definitely not end quickly. Wang Lin's gaze flickered, and his left hand suddenly shot up, pointing at Yunshan as he silently chanted, "Freeze." With just one word, Yunshan's body froze for a moment. In that brief instant, Wang Lin transformed into a sea of fire, closing the distance in a flash. His right hand, which contained the previous fireball, now resembled a fiery hand. As his 2 fingers brushed across Yunshan's body, they quickly tapped 3 times on his chest. Each tap was accompanied by a resounding boom, and Yunshan's body shook violently. His entire body was soon engulfed in the sea of fire. After the 3rd tap, Yunshan spat out blood, his body being forcefully propelled backward and thrown hard. But that wasn't the extent of Wang Lin's power. As his body stopped, his right hand shot out with a fierce grasp. In an instant, an endless sea of flames materialized out of thin air, sweeping across the sky and turning the world into a fiery realm. As the fire surged, it charged toward Yunshan's thrown body, the sound of explosions echoing in the air, growing louder and more terrifying. Finally, with a loud bang, Yunshan's body erupted in a mist of blood. However, his physical body did not collapse. Instead, a pale white light emanated from within, resisting and counteracting the fire's force. Yunshan's face turned pale, and he landed on a platform 1,000 feet away. As he touched down, the platform cracked loudly, and numerous fissures opened, followed by violent explosions. He staggered back, retreating 100 feet before finally stopping, spitting out blood, leaving a horrifying sight on the ground. "Thank you, fellow Taoist, for showing mercy." Yunshan remained silent for a moment, then cupped his hands toward Wang Lin, turning and leaving with faltering steps. The surroundings fell silent. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, as if the battle just now had been nothing to him. He truly had shown mercy. Otherwise, that final strike would have been enough to shatter his opponent's physical body. However, the cost for Wang Lin was great. He had forced himself to exert full power, worsening his injuries further, though others couldn't tell. The cultivators in the stand stood up suddenly as Yunshan fell, their gazes filled with deep awe as they watched Wang Lin, whose clothes fluttered in the wind, standing confidently on the platform. The elders of the Limitless sect looked on with astonishment. Although they had heard about Wang Lin's strength, hearing about it was far different from witnessing it firsthand. Even if they believed it, seeing it with their own eyes was much more impactful. Previously, when Wang Lin had killed people from the Celestial Melody sect and the Xun'er sect, it had seemed somewhat like using strength to bully the weak. Though his divine abilities were astounding, the Limitless sect elders felt they could have done the same, so they hadn't paid much attention. But now, everything had changed. Yunshan's cultivation was similar to theirs, and now, through direct comparison, they bitterly realized that even if they were in Yunshan's place, they too would be defeated. Most importantly, Wang Lin had remained calm, almost as if he had done all of this effortlessly, without even using his full strength. This made their hearts tremble in shock. Feng Hai remained silent, his gaze flickering as he stared at Wang Lin on the platform. The elder beside him, who specialized in fire energy cultivation, looked at Wang Lin with fear in his eyes. He was the one who felt the most. At the final moment, he had a strange feeling that if Wang Lin willed it, his own fire energy would be extracted and used by him. In his entire life of battling, this was the first time he had ever encountered such an eerie situation. Wang Lin's gaze remained calm as he looked toward the sky, slowly speaking, "Today, if anyone is willing to fight, come forward. I, Du Lin of the 7th rank Violet Pine Valley, will challenge fellow Taoist Liu. I, Yin of the 7th rank Heavenly Yin Sect, ask for your guidance, fellow Taoist." A man and a woman's voices almost simultaneously rang out, coming from the southeast directions of the platform. Two streaks of rainbow light shot out, whistling as they rapidly approached. However, once they noticed each other, they both came to an abrupt halt. "Come at me together." Wang Lin withdrew his gaze from the sky and spoke in a calm voice. He raised his right hand, pressing it into the void beneath the platform. Instantly, the massive platform, which occupied nearly half of the cultivation star, trembled violently. Even the cultivation star itself seemed to shake, and an ancient, overwhelming aura seemed to be pulled straight out of the star, as if Wang Lin's hand had forcefully drawn it from within the cultivation star itself. It was as if Wang Lin's body had blurred within this aura. Soul extraction power. A cultivator immediately exclaimed in shock, his voice full of terror. However, this vibration was merely a feeling. In reality, the ground did not move. What shook was the hearts of the people. It was as though, in that instant, with Wang Lin's grasp, everyone's hearts and minds were forcefully pulled from their bodies, following their feet into the earth, and then immediately pulled out again by Wang Lin from the earth. Their vision blurred, and it felt as if, in that moment, the entire world had been enveloped in an ancient, oppressive air. The weight of it was so thick it could almost suffocate a person. Everything felt like an illusion, but it was real enough to shake people's hearts and minds. It was terrifying, as if Wang Lin's right hand was a vortex capable of swallowing the entire world, sucking in the power of heaven and earth, the soul of the cultivation star, in the hearts of all the cultivators surrounding him in an instant. No matter whether they resisted or not, no matter whether they consented, everything was forcefully drawn in. Many didn't know the divine art of soul extraction, but in that moment, they all had an indescribable feeling, as though they had merged with the cultivation star itself. Under Wang Lin's seemingly simple grasp, their souls had flown out. When moving, it could shake the heavens. When still, it could draw stars and souls. It's actually soul extraction. The cultivator who recognized the technique, one of the few great divine ability cultivators in the 7th rank star domain, exclaimed in shock. He immediately stood up, disbelief in his eyes. Not only him, but in that instant, anyone who recognized the divine art among the old monsters and cultivators all changed their expressions drastically, unable to believe that what they were seeing was real. It's said that the cultivation star has a soul. If one's cultivation reaches a certain level and their understanding of the heavenly Tao reaches an incredible height, they can extract the soul of the cultivation star and turn it into a heavenly divine power. This technique was only rumored to exist before the collapse of the Wind Immortal realm, and no one could confirm whether it was truly real. But this Liu Zihao, he's actually able to perform it. The aura of the ancient world, the exact same as described in the ancient books, it's definitely him. This is soul extraction. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. At the moment when the two streaks of rainbow light rushed in from the southeast stands, his right hand seemed to grab hold of the entire cultivation star, suddenly lifting it upwards. In that instant, the earth emitted a silent roar. It was silent because the sound couldn't be heard by the ear, but the mind could clearly feel it. It felt as though the earth and the cultivation star itself were trembling. The ancient aura surged, as if the cultivation star was awakening. After countless millennia of slumber, it was being awakened for the first time, not gently, but forcibly. And in that very moment of awakening, the souls that had accumulated in the star for millennia were forcibly extracted. Everything in the world has a soul, even every blade of grass and tree. Naturally, the cultivation star has a soul. However, the soul of the cultivation star was born over countless eons, full of great spirituality, containing the ancient vicissitudes of the world, and subtly aligned with the changes of the heavenly Tao. Soul extraction, though easy to say, is incredibly rare to achieve. At this moment, in Wang Lin's eyes, the cultivation star was no longer a mere planet. It was a spirit, and what he was extracting was the soul of this spirit. As Wang Lin's right hand lifted, streams of milky white aura suddenly erupted from all parts of the cultivation star. These auras quickly gathered into a swirling mist, racing towards the platform, towards Wang Lin, towards his right hand. At that instant, all the cultivators present felt an illusion, as if the grass and trees of the cultivation star were rapidly withering. In the end, they turned yellow and turned into flying ash. The mountains on the cultivation star suddenly became gray, losing all their spiritual energy, as if everything had been drained. Even the rivers, in an instant, transformed from clear water into murky, and then completely dried up, revealing the cracked riverbeds beneath. Even the ocean in the west, which covered a large portion of the cultivation star, seemed to boil in that instant, stirring up towering waves. The rumbling of the waves could be heard as if it was carrying over to them, loud and clear to all. What shocked everyone even more was the ancient aura emanating from within this cultivation star. It felt as if it embodied the passage of time itself. Under its intense convergence, the soul of the cultivation star stirred violently, transforming into a milky white mist that surged through the ground and platform, erupting with a thunderous roar. The mist howled as it burst forth from the platform beneath Wang Lin, gathering madly in his right hand. In the blink of an eye, the entire area seemed to shake to its core. The surrounding cultivators, all dumbfounded, clearly felt that the soul of the cultivation star was being forcibly drawn out by this white-robed cultivator before their very eyes. It felt as if with a mere thought, he could completely extract the soul of this star. If that happened, the cultivation star would lose all its spiritual energy and become nothing more than a lifeless ruin. It might even collapse entirely. The sheer possibility of such a thing stunned everyone to their core, leaving their minds blank. Even the members of the Wuji sect suddenly stood up in shock, eyes wide with disbelief. Even Feng Hai instinctively drew in a sharp breath. For the first time, there was fear in his gaze as he looked at Wang Lin. But it was quickly followed by a cold sneer. Wang Lin had killed Zhao Hai in front of everyone, humiliating the Xun'er sect completely. There would be a price to pay. Feng Hai was not the first from the Xun'er sect to enter the Wuji sect. Before him, there was another, an extraordinarily powerful but eccentric cultivator, who had long since detached himself from worldly affairs and offered no support to the Xun'er sect. However, he was once the founding sect master of the Xun'er sect, and had now become one of the grand elders of the Wuji sect. Had Wang Lin killed Zhao Hai somewhere else, perhaps it could be overlooked. But doing so within the Wuji sect and forcing the Xun'er sect into silence might very well incur the wrath of that grand elder. The Wuji sect master, the white-robed elder, suddenly changed expression, eyes locked on Wang Lin with a sharp, penetrating gaze. If even they reacted like this, it was no surprise that Du Lin and Yin, who had been flying toward Wang Lin from the southeast to challenge him, were equally shaken. This man and woman were the closest to Wang Lin, and now both froze mid-air, their faces filled with utter shock, their expressions dramatically altered. Wang Lin's face remained calm. His right hand rose like lightning, and the white mist seemed to be pulled into strands, wrapping around his hand and condensing into a white orb the size of a fist. That orb radiated a timeless aura, as if it could corrode all of heaven and earth, reducing all cultivators to insignificance before it. And yet, this terrifyingly powerful orb simply floated in Wang Lin's right hand, handled as casually as if it weighed nothing, making every cultivator watching draw in a cold breath. This was the third time in Wang Lin's life he had extracted a star soul, or, more precisely, the second true time. The first was when a rogue demon merged with his body and drew out the Renegade Immortal soul during the Star Soul battle. The second was when Wang Lin extracted a soul and fused it into the Vermilion Bird Star for transformation. But at that time, he had only just begun to comprehend the technique and hadn't mastered it. Now, however, this third, yet also second true, star soul extraction came as his understanding deepened, his cultivation soared, and with the Star of Law in his possession, he had nearly perfected the technique. He could now extract a star soul and wield it in battle. To use such a power against just one person would be a waste, hence why Wang Lin invited Du Lin and Yin to face him together. Holding the star soul orb as if grasping the very essence of the cultivation star, Wang Lin remained composed. With a wave of his hand, the orb held forward, heading straight for Du Lin and Yin. The orb was small, only the size of a fist, and moved at a seemingly modest speed. With their cultivation, Du Lin and Yin could easily dodge it countless times. And yet, in this moment, Both of them felt an overwhelming sense that the heavens and earth had closed in around them. There was simply no place to run. This feeling was no illusion. Though the orb was small, it was formed from the soul of the cultivation star itself. It was the cultivation star. Dulin and Inu felt as if the very ground beneath their feet had come alive, and the entire planet was now attacking them. In a flash, the orb drew near, but just a few feet in front of them, it exploded with a deafening roar. At the instant of detonation, the ground quaked violently. This time, it was no illusion. The cultivation star itself shook. Waves of overwhelming force burst out from all directions, crashing down upon Dulin and Inu. At that same moment, the great sea to the west of the cultivation star suddenly began to boil. In the blink of an eye, it evaporated into mist, vanishing as if its very essence had been drained. The sky darkened as thick black clouds blanketed the heavens, and rain began to pour, not in isolated patches, but across the entire cultivation star. Thunder roared. Lightning tore across the sky. The heavens trembled. Dulin's body was hurled backward, blood spraying from his mouth. Somehow, he had endured the full force of the cultivation star's wrath. His body was on the brink of collapse, and if not for the fact that Wang Lin had held back his killing intent, Dulin would already be dead. Inu's delicate body trembled as fresh blood sprayed from her mouth, transforming into a mist of crimson that was quickly washed away by the rain. Her body seemed as though it had been struck by a great force, causing her to stagger backward repeatedly. Her face instantly turned pale, and her hair became disheveled as the rain drenched her, almost transforming her into a water-drenched figure. The surroundings were eerily silent, with only the sound of rain pouring onto the earth, a rhythmic hiss, and the occasional rumble of distant thunder. In that moment, all eyes were focused on the figure in white amidst the rain, standing tall and unmoving. The rain parted as if unwilling to touch him, a full yard away from his body, not a single drop touching him. This is the Star Soul Extraction divine art. Every elder familiar with this technique felt their minds tremble as they witnessed the scene. The images from just moments ago would be forever imprinted in their memories. In the Cloud Sea Star domain, the number of practitioners skilled in divine arts far exceeded those in the other three realms, due to the abundance of medicinal pills and fierce beasts. However, this also meant that many immortal arts and divine techniques could not be passed down due to the inaccessibility of the Wind Realm, leaving these practitioners with a far weaker understanding of divine abilities compared to their counterparts in the other realms. The Star Soul Extraction divine art was considered a top-tier divine technique in the other three realms, but in the Cloud Sea, it existed mostly in legends. Though few had mastered it, it was incredibly rare. Having reached the second step of cultivation, divine techniques generally related to realms of perception and understanding the laws of the heavens. Cultivators in the Cloud Sea, who relied on medicinal pills to enhance their cultivation, were far weaker than those from the other realms who struggled with their own power within the vastness of heaven and earth. As the chief disciple of the 7th-rank Violet Pine Valley, he had been thoroughly nurtured by his main sect over thousands of years, constantly receiving medicinal pills and cultivation methods, even receiving teachings from great divine cultivators. He thought he had already reached the peak. Yet today, in this battle, his opponent did not even use all of their techniques. With just a single divine art, Star Soul Extraction, they had defeated him. In truth, when he saw his opponent extract the soul of the cultivation star, he already knew his defeat was certain, yet he clung to a shred of hope, believing he could resist under this divine technique. But the cruel reality came crashing down like the rain falling from the sky, and he was defeated without any room to fight back. This mental blow left him with a bitter heart. As he slowly retreated into the rain, he found himself back at the gates of Violet Pine Valley, sitting silently without speaking. Inu, equally drained of color, bit her lip and cupped her hands toward Wang Lin, then turned and left. She too, in the rain, looked desolate. Mu Bingmei stood frozen, staring at everything before her. She had once believed she knew Wang Lin's cultivation like no one else, but at this moment, she realized how little she truly understood him. 100 years. I never expected him to have grown this strong. Mu Bingmei's gaze lingered on Wang Lin. In that instant, he seemed almost unfamiliar. His white clothing and white hair, for reasons unknown, now filled her with an even deeper sense of bitterness. No one around her knew Wang Lin's past as she did, not even half of his story. They didn't know the images seen on Vermilion Bird Star, of his clan being slaughtered, of the small cultivator who had been forced to flee Zhao Kingdom, of the hatred-driven killing spree that painted the land red with blood. Nor did they know of the man who, despite all odds, rose to fame in the Rain realm and nearly became the new Vermilion Bird Patriarch, only to have grown so strong that his footsteps could shake the starry sky. Li Qiamei, too, was shocked by Wang Lin's transformation. After 100 years, she hadn't expected him to be capable of such feats, killing two from the Celestial Melody sect, slaying Zhao Long of the Xuanwan sect, easily defeating Yun Shan, and finally, in front of all, extracting the Star Soul and defeating both Du and Yinyu. As for Wang Shanshan, she too gasped in disbelief. She understood the Star Soul extraction better than anyone, even having witnessed her master's use of it. Her master had once said that in the Cloud Sea Star domain, no more than 3 people could extract the Star Soul. Beyond the Star Soul, there was the Void Soul, a soul taken from an entire starry sky. This was the 3rd step of a divine technique. She had also heard her master speak of a legend regarding the 2nd step of cultivation. It said that cultivators at this stage could, by perceiving the laws of heaven and earth, naturally grasp 4 great divine techniques. 2 of these were the Shrinking Earth technique and Star Soul extraction. These were not learned through study, but attained through fate, and the number of those who could comprehend them was incredibly rare. The silence around them persisted even after Du and Yinyu departed, as if no one dared to shatter the stillness that felt eternal. The elders of the Limitless sect now looked at Wang Lin with awe. They could not fathom his cultivation, nor could they comprehend his divine abilities. Whether it was the earlier Finger of the Sky, the Heaven and Earth Firestorm, or the most shocking Star Soul extraction, these scenes made the elders feel a profound sense of mystery and wonder towards Wang Lin, as though he were an enigma beyond their understanding. They had no idea what other divine abilities the person before them might possess, but there was an overwhelming sense that everything they had just witnessed, those divine abilities, was far from the person's true limit. There were still countless secrets about this individual, and far more surprises and shocks awaited. 7th rank Star Domain. Does anyone else wish to offer me guidance? With a wave of Wang Lin's right hand, the vast, ancient aura that had permeated the heavens and earth slowly dissipated, as if merging with the earth. He returned the soul he had extracted back to the cultivation star. The ground trembled slightly, and slowly, everything returned to normal, as though what had just occurred was nothing but an illusion, never having existed at all. However, the rain that fell from the sky and the occasional thunder that flashed were a stark reminder to all cultivators present that what they had witnessed was real and terrifying. Wang Lin's words didn't break the silence around him. It was as if his voice was the very source of the silence. As his words echoed in the rain, the stillness deepened. Absolute silence often gives rise to an invisible pressure, and at this moment, that pressure emanated from Wang Lin. His towering figure in white further intensified this force. No one dared to speak up, only silently gazing at the man standing on the platform mountain, the figure who seemed to reach the heavens in the rain. Wang Lin's appearance, his demeanor, were deeply etched into the hearts of all present, to be remembered for a lifetime. Friend Lu has injured 3 of my Wuji sect disciples who were preparing to participate in the 8th rank sect competition. This matter requires an explanation from you. A hoarse voice slowly rang out, belonging to the sect master of Wuji sect, an elder in white robes, his eyes crackling with intensity as they fixed on Wang Lin. He spoke slowly. His gaze was as tangible as a weapon, 2 sword-like beams aimed directly at Wang Lin. The moment his gaze converged, thunder rumbled across the sky, as if even the heavens themselves were retreating, afraid to approach the platform. Even the rain ceased to fall, mysteriously halting mid-air. In that instant, it seemed as though the workings of the entire world had come to a standstill. This was all due to the gaze of the elder in white. Such a powerful force from just a mere gaze was beyond the reach of a shattered nirvana cultivator. Only one who had experienced the heavenly decay tribulation could achieve such power. Wang Lin felt this most keenly. The moment that gaze fixed on him, it was as if everything in the world belonged to that elder, merging with his eyes. Wherever that gaze passed, it brought with it the weight of divine authority. Under that divine pressure, the thunder naturally avoided, the rain stopped, and even Wang Lin himself felt a shock to his soul. The injuries he had been suppressing in his body suddenly showed signs of exploding, yet his expression remained unchanged. His eyes flashed with sharp light as they clashed with the elder in white, whose figure was distant but equally imposing. In that moment, the heavens themselves seemed to roar in response, as if the very earth was shaking. A frenzy of pressure surged from the point where their gazes met, spreading out like a wild storm. The cultivators on the outer edges of the platform immediately felt as though they were caught in a raging gale, their bodies threatened by the overwhelming force. They instinctively began to circulate their internal energy, as if not doing so would result in being engulfed by this pressure. Li Qianmei's eyes flashed with cold light, and a murderous aura erupted from her body. She wanted to merge her energy with the pressure to assist Wang Lin. However, the moment her energy surged, the elder in white raised his right hand, and with a swift gesture, the world trembled. Li Qianmei's energy was immediately reversed, and it was sealed within her body, unable to escape. Mu Bingmei's gaze grew icy, and she too activated her full power, revealing her shattered nirvana cultivation. As she formed hand seals and prepared to act, she immediately felt an overwhelming pressure descending upon her. Her cultivation was immediately suppressed, unable to manifest further. The sect master's immense strength was now fully revealed to the world. To become a sect master, especially of an 8th rank star domain sect, meant that one's cultivation was far from ordinary. Mu Bingmei's face paled. She could feel the killing intent within the sect master's pressure, though she knew it might be exaggerated. Yet, when facing such oppressive force, she could not analyze clearly. In that pressure, her hands formed a strange seal, a legacy technique passed down through the Kungsa Holy Maiden's line. As the seal appeared, an illusory glazed treasure vase flickered into existence around her. With a powerful shake, it emitted a thunderous sound, shaking off the pressure that bound her. Her body staggered, and she managed to escape, though her complexion had become even paler. This divine technique from her lineage, when fully deployed, would have been flawless. However, with her body already damaged and her essence spirit in turmoil, forcibly using this technique only worsened her injuries. This scene made the old man in the white robe pause in surprise. At that moment, an astonishing aura erupted from Li Qianmei, emanating a terrifying killing intent mixed with a strange, eerie sensation. It was as if a demonic aura was leaking out of her body, transforming into a mighty force that tore apart the pressure from the white-robed elder, allowing Li Qianmei to break free from it. Floating in front of her was a jade slip. This jade slip was the mysterious item given to her by the enigmatic figure from the demon sect before they departed. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. The instant Li Qianmei and Mu Bingmei broke free, Wang Lin raised his right foot and took a step forward. In that step, his entire being merged with the heavens and the earth, as if he had become one with the cultivation star. A sense of desolation spread throughout his body. You don't need to move forward. As he advanced, Wang Lin swung his right hand, immediately releasing a vast power that howled through the air. It gently fell upon Li Qianmei and Mu Bingmei, halting their forward momentum. I've battled against the first decay of heaven and man. At that moment, golden light exploded from Wang Lin's body. The light resembled the dawn sun, gentle yet carrying a sharpness and ferocity capable of tearing through the darkest night. As it spread out, the thunder in the sky, which had retreated before, began to condense once again, and the raindrops that had frozen mid-air trembled as if the heavens had resumed their movement, suddenly falling. A soft gasp escaped from the mouth of the old man in the white robe. He stood up, and as he did, the rain shattered violently, transforming into a burst of white mist that shot up into the sky. In your 8th rank star domain grand competition, I, Lu, can step in. But as for the origin reverting sect, you will have to give me an explanation. Wang Lin immediately saw through the white-robed elder's thoughts. The killing intent was merely a ruse, a distraction. A sharp light flashed in the old man's eyes, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He was about to speak, but suddenly, his expression changed. He sharply raised his head to look into the distance. A booming sound echoed through the sky as a long rainbow streaked from afar. Within it was an aura devoid of joy or sorrow. As it descended, a deep voice rumbled from the heavens. Dare you face my divine technique? Grand Elder. The people of the Wuji sect immediately rose to their feet, clasping their fists in respect, their expressions full of reverence. Wang Lin looked up, and his body was bathed in golden light, shining like the sun rising over the sea, dazzling and overwhelming. His gaze locked onto the approaching rainbow, and even his eyes turned golden.